everybody. Morning, Mark. Thanks very much for inviting me on. Well, with Mark's come on, asked, well, contacted me, asked me because, I don't know any, just a little brief background. I ran as an independent in the local elections, and I'm running the Save the Leisure Centre, but we called it Save the Iconic Lido Hill to try and stop 280 homes on that. But what we've come on about was I posted a video up on Facebook, and people may have seen it regarding all the rain that we had on Wednesday evening, which always seems to be that we had a run up, we had preparations. Let's all be prepared, let's act first, etc., etc. All warnings by the council, warning by the government, flood warnings, etc., alerts, and lo and behold, it comes along, and the councils and that are not ready. I mean, I went down to Friday Hill. There was about 18 inches, probably more of water. The Ching was overflowing at that point. I know around Heron Close. Oh, but by the way, just quickly, thank Gail Penfold and others in the community for the amount of work they put in, collecting information, helping people out. And I know Gail had a meeting with the environment down by the Walthamstow dog track yesterday regarding that, and did speak to Gail about very let down about what's happening. We're all being told to be prepared, but it didn't seem to, there's no council workers, or even we see Thames Water sort of being reactive as opposed to being proactive. I know once these emergencies start with this flooding, like underneath North Circle, it's very hard to get transport around. But you should have transport, etc., in places. We know through experience that the bottom of Friday Hill gets blocked up, Chingford Hatch gets blocked up, underneath North Circle gets blocked up. All these areas are the low points at the bottom of hills, and Chingford is hill. If you ever rode a bike in Chingford, you know that virtually every turning is either up or down. So we know the low points, and really, there should be sandbags, emergency services, even stuff given to neighbours, some tools, etc., for cleaning drains out, brushes, etc. Look, people do it as a community to do it, but the water boards and the council are getting paid a lot of money to do it, especially the water companies. I mean, was it £72 billion in profit last year? And we're relying on the community groups to dig the drains for them. But going back to Friday Hill, what was quite significant as well was the failure of electric vehicles. 3 buses got stuck because their electric failed. Well, surely anyone sort of manufacturing or producing and overseeing these buses should have asked these questions. What happens to them? Because once these buses got stuck, that literally wiped out Friday Hill, Chingford Lane. So any emergency services couldn't get through on normal circumstances with the buses stuck there. Put that along with the water, it was a catastrophe. Just, it seems to be, from what I understand, that the water board are responsible for the pipes, etc., and the rivers and drains and that. But all the land around it, so it's council land or your land or my land, we're responsible for. So we have to maintain that, and then the water board pick up on there. So if you had a drive, etc., you'd expect to keep your drive clear, keep your own drains and gullies in that clear. But once it goes outside into the public domain, then the water board pick it up, and that seems to be a bit of a letdown. I don't know if you have any comments on that, Mark, at all. Hello, Mark.
Hello, yeah, sorry. Yep. Sorry, I was. I had to do
Okay, probably like dreaming of West Essex in the Cup on Saturday, I suppose.
Yeah, we got a game Sunday, so yeah.
Sunday, was it? Yeah. So, did you see any apart from? I see a Thames Water, one van, but I didn't see any staff. No. I mean, can you put the road clearance team? Can you put them on standby? I mean, I worked on London Transport years ago on the track, and when it was snowing or anything, any alerts, we was all diverted to other duties, like emergency duties, and put on standby. I just didn't see any staff from the council anywhere.
No, I was actually in Kent, but I was coming home, and someone actually told me about the flooding, and I was getting a bit worried actually because my cat was my cat was out. We left it out all day, and then and also I thought how are we gonna get in? If all the roads are flooded. Lucky enough, where I am, it wasn't too bad. It seemed to have cleared.
Yeah, see, when you look around, I mean, Mark, you're not old enough, but anyone at my age and that, I don't know if you understand how the water systems work. Well, basically, when they had all these building projects in the 30s and 40s, especially around London, they built over open rivers and ditches and tunnelled them in to make the buildings work. But that doesn't stop the water running. But now what happens is it runs into a tubular system. And when you get a downpour like we did Wednesday evening, the tubular system cannot take the flow. So basically, I mean, there have been lots of researches by Thames 21 Water and the councils and the government about how can we maintain this. We've seen flood mitigation works in Rolls Park, Memorial Park, etc. I'm not sort of over keen on what they've done there, but they're experts in their field, so they'll do it. But I think we need to go back to more open type ditches. I mean, all round every one of our playing fields. I mean, you're involved in football, Mark, and if you go to around West Essex or Fulbourn Road or whatever, well, I played on there years ago. I was London. There'd be a ditch running all the way around them fields, and natural drainage ditches. Now they're closed in, and especially like where Hale End play, most of it's artificial grass. Well, that would be natural grass, which would take in water. So the hardening up of our surfaces, people get permitted planning. They build an extension and then they raise their raise their deckings, etc., and pushes water onto their neighbours. Not that they do it on purpose; they just don't realise. It's like people having drives done, and there's nowhere for the water to go except for back onto the pavement, onto the road. The gullies are not being put in, or some sort of like buffer drainage. So people seem to be running away with that. I mean, there should be more done than that. I mean, if you go down the bottom of Friday all day, but and it works because I go past it all the time. The cycle lane, it's widened up, but there's no soft verges. There could have been space for soft verges in between the pedestrianised area and the cycle area. I mean, the cycle area would take about eight bikes a piece, and then pedestrian 2 or 3 prams. Between that, you could have had a grass verges or some sort of planting system to take the fall of water, so it doesn't literally all run into the one little drain.
Yep. I'm back onto the field, so we have that problem of it running down into our garden.
Whereabouts is that?
I don't want to give away my location.
But it's in the Ainsley Wood area. Yeah, but in the Ainsley Wood area, I mean, they had problems several years ago, and that's why the flood mitigation has been put in on Lartswood Park. I believe it's to take in the more development they want to build on the leisure centre and other places in Chingford. They're doing this, but in Ainsley Wood, I think it was something like 70 houses were flooded several years back, where the old Victorian drains, where constantly people have been extensions, had broken the drains, and so that area is renowned for flooding. But what happens is your garden could flood, Mark, but next door's doesn't. It just seems to be who's done what and has broken the system. And that I mean, I'm qualified as a advanced sitting Guild. I used to lecture on brickwork construction, which covered drainage in Waltham Forest College. And you do notice with builders and that the checks, because sort of like building control is not as big as the department as what it once was. The council don't employ as many people, so getting out and about. But you see people putting washing machines through extensions into our rainwater system. They're not supposed to be doing that. And that soap, etc., clogs up gullies and U-traps, and that causes more problems. People don't realise, they're not aware of the regs, and the council are not getting round to cover people on that. I don't know, would you've known about that, Mark?
No, I wouldn't know about
No, because what happens is you say, oh, do you know what, Mum wants a washing machine. You put the washing machine in the garage, or where should we run it? We'll run it into the rainwater system. You don't realise the rainwater system should be separate. I mean, you have got combined systems, but people are running straight into the same system. Little things like that all man up. I mean, if you go round by Ainsley Wood, by Ropers, where to get onto it years ago, there would have been between the curb and the woods, there would have been some sort of ditch. You always went over with one wet foot. I mean, if you see down the side of Ropers, going towards Rolls Park, the ditch does run down the side there, but through the years, people throw leaves, or it's not maintained, so it gets blocked up. It then goes onto the road, hence why you've got this flood mitigation works going on at the gates of Ropers Park. It's at the bottom of Underwood Road, where the water's coming down off the height of Larkswood, runs all the way down into Ropers. It's got nowhere to go. Water does not run uphill. It then turns right on its natural flow. Remember, it's flowing under the ground as well as over the ground, and then it's heading down into Ainsley Wood. From there on, it keeps running further down into Westwood, Hampton Road, into the Ching area. So that's the water still running underneath the ground, but with the tubular systems, it can't take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they say that all the drains have been cleaned and they're all okay. Is that right?
Well, look, if you live in a side road, when was the last time you actually see? I mean, I see the guy over the hatch. He's brilliant, the road sweeper, absolutely brilliant. But when you live in a side road, when do you actually see one of them gully cleaning come up? I mean, I live in a crescent. You rarely see them. Maybe once in about 7 years do they come and clean the gully. They don't. Yeah, but everyone's having work done, etc. The sand, which the builders pour down the drain, or don't pour it down, just silts down. Well, them gullies get blocked.
Yeah.
And them drains get blocked, and that maintenance. Well, this is down to the council and to the water companies, because especially the water companies, they're getting billions. They've got the money to do it, Mark, but they're not doing it. Instead of paying it on dividends, it should be done on maintenance, and that's why we get these problems.
Yeah. Because they're not doing them. So it's a problem. So
it's a problem. It's a problem, Mark. But we've had dry weather for 6 or 8 weeks, and all we've had is notices about alerts. Now, the council have not been cleaning, not having to cut grass. Well, why aren't people deployed to do other things? Like, we'll sweep the gullies properly. We'll clean these drains out. While we've got this dry spell, we can get on with this. Yes, they've got other works to do, but there never seems to be enough staffing. I mean, at Waltham Forest Council only employ 2,050 people. All the rest are contractors. So the direct labour, it's all contractors, and that therein lies the problem. For someone to do it, who's going to? It's not in our contract, so someone's got to draw up a contract of it. There should be imposition. Maybe there is, but the evidence is there. Look, Wednesday night was a 2-hour rush of water. I understand that, and sometimes it's literally like saying, I'll turn the tap on in the sink, and while that's filling up, I'll throw a bucket of water in there. Well, of course it's going to overflow, and you don't do it. Yeah. But at the same time, you make sure your trap's clean, so that if you do have that, it's got the best chance of working. And it does not seem to me, and not only Waltham Forest Council, it's all over London, all over Britain. And then you've got this chaos of all the sewage going into the sea. I mean, I can't. For us to live, just generally, you need water. Everyone needs water. So why are the water companies pouring sewage into our seas and rivers? This water we need. We're contaminating our own life source for profit.
Yeah.
I mean, you go in the sea, Mark, or you may not. You go in the river, but we drink the water. The water, the actual directors, the dividend holders, they drink the water. They're contaminating their own water. I mean, for profit. That can't be right. I'm not here to lecture socialism or anything like that, but at the same time, where something's failed, you've got to ask yourself, why is it failing?
Why is it failed? Yeah. I want to move on if we can. Talk about what's going on.
Yeah, sure.
Actually, in the building, kind of. Over by what's that? Lux, like what was used to be Luxwood swimming pool.
Well, as you know, I mean, we've got a 700 strong Facebook page, and we'll save the iconic Luxwood Lido Hill. We've got 700 members, and look, this is not anti-development. None of this is anti-development.
No.
Yes, we realise that people need to live. I've got sons and grandchildren. People need places to live, but the amount of homes has been condemned. Something like 24,000 too many homes Waltham Forest wants to build. It's been condemned by the local planning inspector. And one they said it's too many. Two, they've said recreation areas shouldn't be used. So here we've got the largest recreation area. Got 3,000 members at Nuffield Gym. Then you've got the well-being or better health next door. You got the nursery, children's nursery, Frankie Ben. This is a well-used site. So you're asking to increase the population and decrease recreation. And now the local inspectors turn around and say, no, it's too much. Well, surely the council will be saying, well, where can we reduce this number to make sure it abides by the inspector's plan? Well, let's aim at the two areas. One, we've got too much. Two, we need more recreation. So let's not build on the recreation. It's quite simple. The 300 homes there is not going to make a difference to the local plan. But the 300 homes not being built there will make a difference to every local person.
So but they don't see it that way, do they?
Why? Well, it's the council who've put the property. As you know, there's a covenant and charges on the property. It's the council who have put that area on, or that whole site in the local plan. There was no need for the council to put it. They're driving the whole thing with local inspectors, telling them not to, what they shouldn't be doing, but they're driving forward to build on recreational grounds. It should be taken out of the local plan. I don't think people realise. People don't realise. I mean, we had after the Lido, it sat empty, then we had Fantasies, then it was wrecked, and now it's owned by British Airways Pension Fund.
Oh, right.
They took over the lease. Yeah, well, basically, it was a firm called, it was something like Decorano took it over, and I could be wrong with the dates, but it's around about 2000 and 2007, and because the council had no money, and that was when it was all dilapidated through the Fantasies being broke into, etc., and Decoranos, etc., they took it over for £130,000 lease on the instruction to get it up and running. And to be fair, they did, and they done it in 2013. They then sold it. Remember, but after doing all the work, and good luck to them, they'd done the work. They'd sold it for 130,000. Council did to them on the lease. Decorana then sold it to British Aerospace for £6.7 million on a 200-year lease, 199-year lease. But the council had no built-in clause on it to get any money, so they took all the money, and it's good business by them, and they've done their work. But you have to ask, why didn't the council have a built-in clause that's a sell-on value, same as you would do a young footballer who come to West Essex and he went off to the Orient, and if he was going to go on to West Ham or Man United, then West Essex would pick up something. But the council haven't picked up anything for it. £6.75 million. Yeah, and it's now the council who are writing to them to ask them, would they be interested in planning permission? Well, it's a pension fund. Of course, they'd be interested in planning permission. But I was quite happy to sign the agreement 9 years ago now, for a 200-year lease, because they're getting money from Nuffields, they're getting money from Harvester, etc. They're getting money from the facility. The property value, the land value won't go down. So everyone was quite happy. It's the council with their local plan who's stirring up and agitating it. Mark, if they said to me, Tom, if you get planning permission, we can get planning permission on your land, of course I'd be interested.
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing to a pension fund. And everyone would be interested in it because it would put the value of that land up. And then therefore, would they sell it? Would they sell it onto a building company or a development company? And to say to the shareholders, here's we've got a nice dividend out of this. We sold this more now at a bigger profit.
So, what is the latest with the building? Because I saw you post something.
Well, basically, the side next to it, Lindhill Developments, want to put 72 homes on it. We're fighting it as a group. We're posting up, but there's a lot of discrepancies. They're listing it as a brownfield site on both the government registers and on Wolford Forest brownfield site registered. The site is not listed as being a brownfield site, but they're saying the developers are saying it is a brownfield site. Well, we're arguing there's no proof. We did get emails. They're saying it has been because of certain agreements which was in place with the present owners, but the people who they in the email have put down as the present owners are not actually the official owners. The company, they said, don't actually officially own it on the land registry. So there's a discrepancy on that. Just because someone's maybe leased or rented a property off someone else who owns it doesn't give them a divine right. It's that the people who the land registry have got registered, they're the legal people, and it's not the two companies don't marry up. I'm not saying they're not the same people, but it's two different companies. So there's that discrepancy. Plus also, when they signed a contract in 2016 and then another one in 2020, when it was sold to two different companies, it's a covenant and charge which is agreed legally to be bound by, and they're not appear to be binding by them covenant and charges, and that's another area we're looking at working at. So look, we're under no illusion this is going to be a fight, but we're prepared to fight, because once they build on that part of the nursery, then they'll run down maybe the Harvester part and a bit towards Normanshire Drive, and say, oh well, we can get on that bit and we can squeeze another bit of 70 houses on. They want the whole project wants 288 homes on it, or 288 homes. So get 72 on the nursery, and we'll get another 72 on what's left. Larkswood Swimming Pool was a big area space, and it's Larkswood Park, and the covenant covers not just the leisure centre, the covenant covers every bit of the green space over to Ropers Avenue, Ainsley Wood, Underwood Road, every Bourne Gardens, Larkswell Crescent, Larkswell Road, New Road, every bit of that green space is covered under Larkswood Park covenant and charges. No residential development is quite clearly stated on there, and they are trying, both the council and the developers are trying to break that agreement. And once that's broken, then that'll be, oh, it's broken for all of it, and they'll just nibble away, and the only bit that'll probably end up being left, well, it's only half a field now because they've dug it up for the flood mitigations. It'll be, oh well, we've built all these places. We need a nursery, we need a school, we'll need, and rightly so, need the infrastructure. The only place would be left would be the field, and then it'll be onto that, and that's what'll happen. And then say, well, hang on a sec, none of these places want got cars in them. The development they're offering on Horan's nursery, the Lindhill site, is they're offering free parking spaces for 72 homes, free disability parking
Right.
spaces, something like 120 bike bays. So the council want to encourage cycling. Well, people may not be own a car, but they will use a car. If you work
Yeah.
for a plumbing company and they supply you with a vehicle, or you may work for Thames Water or British Gas, etc., you'll be supplied with it. Well, where are you going to park it? You're going to have to park it on New
Yeah.
Road, or you're going to park it
Yeah.
outside, and then the
Oh,
knock-on
then
effect,
that's going to make that
the
a
fact
mess
that,
again, isn't
well, of
it?
course, well, and we already know, yeah, and it's all going to be a service road going into New Road, which people don't realise. They thought it'd be going into the leisure centre for it. Now there'll be another road going to it, and also on the Transport for London's mayor's guidance, for that amount of properties, you should have 8 disabled bays. So they're building a property now which isn't fit for purpose, or they want to build a property now which isn't fit for purpose. First of all, 3 disabled bays, when really at this time it should be 8 disabled bays. So that's discounting 5 other people or homes with disabilities. Where were they going to park? In New Road? So it shouldn't be allowed on that alone, on the disability equality. But I don't want any of it. I don't want any of it on that land. There's 288 homes. We can do it on a plan was 24,000 homes oversubscribed. We can do it with 288 on the leisure centre, on any part of it. Because the one thing about COVID, and people who live in flats and haven't got spaces or balconies, that Larkswood Park is thriving. The Woods is thriving with people using it and getting out, and it's people carry on about mental health, etc. A Beast Nation, well, these are the areas we this helps your mental health. This helps your BC. The children can run around in the woods. They kind of run around in the fields, etc. And it's free. It's not costing them anything. So it doesn't matter what your budget is. You can use it.
Yeah. There's
Yep.
just one more thing I wanted to kind of bring up to everyone and to make everyone know that Guildford Road, there's a community centre. Do you know that one, Tom?
In whereabouts? Sorry, what road?
Guildford Road in Walthamstow. There's a
Oh yeah, I know.
it's
Yeah,
called
yeah,
Forest Community Centre or something.
yeah.
I go to the drama group now, and we've been told that it's going to be used for a food bank in March.
Yeah.
So I'm not against food banks at all. I'm not against them, but there's other places what they could be done instead of turfing out all these people who actually look after the building and have activities there. We've got like table tennis, arts. We've got all different clubs that go there, and we're all going to be turfed out in March. So we've got a meeting next Thursday, 3:00. If anyone wants to come along and support, us.
Yeah. On that, Mark, I mean, the Labour manifesto in the local elections said they were going to introduce 4 youth clubs to the area. Well, the local plan was to increase the amount of housing homes, but only 4 youth clubs. 4 youth clubs is nowhere near sufficient. I mean, as you say, there's a community centre. By and large, the food banks are unfortunately become an essential item once again.
Yeah.
And predominantly they were done in church halls, etc. So, and different communities. I mean, in London, around Lincoln's Field, the Sikh community do an absolutely superb job with their food banks, and I know 2 or 3 mosques, etc., do a fantastic. And not only it's open to everyone. There's no,
Yeah.
you don't have to be Muslim, you don't have to be Sikh, etc.
Yeah.
They're open to everyone, and community groups do work together for the betterment of society. But when you can't be closing table tennis clubs down, domino clubs, etc., for food
Yeah,
banks.
groups, 2 drama groups actually go there.
Yeah. Well, there is. Waltham Forest Council own a lot of property. They own a lot of
They do,
property
yeah.
that sits empty, which could we well used for food banks. I mean,
Yeah,
we
this is what we've told them.
we're
We've told them.
yeah. All right. If you're involved with West Essex,
Yeah,
well, their youth place down in Rolls Park, yeah,
yeah,
the club down there. Well, the changing rooms are not used Monday to Friday. They're empty in that car park. They're not
yeah.
used, are they?
No, but it's
Right.
because
Well, why can't?
there's one with a building. They've got to knock it down and rebuild now.
Yeah,
Apparently, there's some
that's
trouble.
maybe Mark.
Yeah, yeah.
But all round, you've got sports centres, you've got Jubilee, you've got Rolls
Yeah.
Park, you
Actually,
you you
Jubilee was one
you
of
got
them.
places what
They said. We said Jubilee.
well, it sits empty Monday. Yeah, did they? Well, it sits empty
Yeah.
Monday to Friday. Why are these places sitting empty Monday to Friday? The food banks could use them quite easy, and we've got showers there. You could people are struggling. Let them use the
Yeah.
showers. Have a shower once a week or whatever. You know, you've got these
Yeah.
facilities there. You've got toilets. You've got showers. These sports clubs are sitting empty Monday to Friday. Yes, you can clear it all out. Really, put a porta cabin, put it all back in on the Saturday, Sunday, but they sit empty during the day, every day, not being used. Just another thing, when you go back to the iconic, we are running a petition. So anyone who wants to join us on the Facebook
Oh
page to
yeah.
save the
Yeah.
iconic Lartswood Lido page, and then there's a petition there. We're the only petition. It's not politically led. But we don't want any of your information. We just like you to sign a petition to support our cause.
Good.
Okay, then, Mark.
Yeah.
Righto. Right. Thanks very
So
much.
yeah. So just to finish the conversation we was having about that. So what I'm really scared of, when I've seen it happen before. These buildings get left after the food bank's finished, or say they don't want to go there anymore, then they'll be left and it'll be wrecked and ruined. This is the thing. They've done it before.
Well, I don't know if you know at the moment, Mark, that the point is, most of the scout huts, the scouting group the numbers have fallen off, and the scouting groups, Scout Association, do not want to carry on with the leases or the rental, and the council are blocking people from renting out these halls. You look up Lartswell Road, the scout hut there, it's being run down.
Yeah.
Well, why isn't that being used as a food bank?
Okay.
It's sitting empty. It's being run down. Yeah, they run these places down. They don't. They had a bigger fight over malices to try and keep it, etc. But where the numbers have gone down, the council are not interested in giving the lease out to judo clubs or tennis clubs, etc. Table tennis, dominoes, etc. Even a joint venture. They rather see it empty, and as you say, run it down. And next thing you know, the residents are only happy for houses to go up there because they're fed up looking at the eyesore and people breaking in, doing drugs, etc. Or vandalism on these areas. It seems a projected plan by them to run it down on purpose.
Yeah.
They'll deny that.
The thing is, though, Tom, what you say about these 4 community centres, these 4 youth centres, where are they going to be? Because there's hardly any community centres left, to hold them.
Well, Mark, there is places, but the council don't want to.
There is places.
The council got. Yeah.
But the council won't let anyone do it.
But even in the town hall, you got meeting rooms was empty at night, or they have meetings rooms. They've got places that are empty. They can use them. But to use them, it's costing staff. Mark, I always notice if you go along by any of the retail parks all around London, yeah, or anywhere, say not them the companies personally, like Screwfix, Toolstation, Tesco's, etc. They've all got big car parks.
Yeah.
They've all got floodlights, and at night they'll pay a guy to sit in there on X amount of money to protect it, to keep kids and vandalism out. Why don't they pay coaches to get kids there to use the floodlight hard grounds? You could have street hockey, you could have basketball in these areas because the floodlights are on and the place sits empty.
Yep. And
Yeah,
the number.
yeah,
Yeah, it's true though, because like the thing
yeah,
is,
yeah. You go to Magnets. They put barriers up to stop the travellers getting in, and vandalism. But the car park seat is empty. Why haven't they got a little skateboard park there,
yeah,
or a couple of basketball pitches? I mean, you could have, I don't know, the Shore Guard or the Screwfix League, Street Hockey League, Street Basketball. There's
yeah,
3x3 basketball. What you've got the hard standing there. Instead of paying someone to keep the kids away, pay someone to keep the kids there.
yeah, I agree.
And get the larger companies. Yeah,
Yeah, and also there's the Queen Elizabeth stables, which
yeah,
people are fighting now to keep have that open again. There's something.
yeah. Well, there's definitely a need. I think you'll find. Whereas the Hyde Park plan is absolutely fantastic group, there is definitely a need for a Chingford plan in around Ainsley Wood, Ropers, our area as well.
Yeah,
And do exactly what a Hyde Park plan is doing, and it needs it in North Chingford. They need these groups to be set up, so the council go to these groups first.
yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah. Okay then.
Okay then, thank you very much for being on.
Thanks, Ed.
I'll have you back again.
Good luck on Sunday. Good luck on Sunday.
Yeah.
Right then.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, that was Tom, and we're talking about all different things. We're getting back again to our show and talk more about what's happening in the community. So this is what this show is about. It's about what's happening in the community and discussion about it. And you can always email in your comments and views and things that are bothering you at the moment. Things that you want to talk about. We like to have people on the show as guests. So yeah, we'll do that again. So it's been. I think we're going to end the show there, and look out for the next Chingford community discussion. I don't know if I might change the name of that. I can't think of anything else at the moment, so that's what it was. But if anyone's got a good name, then email us at Chingford. I think it's Chingford Radio. I've got to think about this. Chingford. Let's have a look. It's chingfordradio@gmail.com. That's the one. chingfordradio@gmail.com. So thank you again to Tom for being on the show, and we'll be back again soon. Thank you for everyone who's listening. We're going to put this in as a podcast now, and you'll be able to listen again. And don't forget to get your comments in. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening.